Hi, welcome back to OD YouTube channel. Today I'm here for the review of the new Kaweco Piston Sport Classic in black. So that's what I'm talking about today. I will try not to make this too long, but there are a few points that I want to mention. The first one is to thank Kaweco for sending me this pen for review. Again, thank you so much for our long collaboration. And so this is a piston filler Kaweco Sport, which was asked for a long time. There was the first version of it that was released a few months ago, which was the Piston Sport in aluminum. Now it is available in plastic. So let's take a look at it. First, it comes inside these kind of a tube, which is very nice. It has this kind of vintage imprint, vintage effect with Kaweco logo on top and Kaweco information on the bottom. And it has this kind of look that is similar to the rest of the Kaweco design of every other package, but this is a new kind of package. It's similar to the ones that were available at for the Galen Leather Kaweco Sport Special Editions. So this is a very interesting kind of box, and it's not really a box for you to keep. You may keep it, but if you want, you may just discard it, and sometimes it's easier to have less things and be able to throw these in the recycle because it's paper. So it's kind of nice. The pen comes inside here. It has the leaflet or the sticker, and we take the pen out, and it comes inside the plastic bag. And here we have it, the Kaweco Sport, the Kaweco Piston Sport in classic in black. So let's see what we have here. First, let's put these inside the regular lineup of Kaweco Sport. So the Kaweco Classic Sport is this pen. Kaweco Classic Sport is a plastic sport pen with gold trim, which means it has the gold colored medallion on top with the logo, gold filled imprint on the cap, and gold plated steel nib. That's exactly what we have here. The same thing, gold colored logo on top. There, the Kaweco Sport gold filled on the cap, on one of the cap facets, one of the 8 cap facets. It's an octagonal shaped cap, and also in the nib, gold plated steel nib, and also a gold colored ring there. And this gold colored ring, as we already have it on the Piston Sport in aluminum, or as it was available in a cartridge pen that was the Kaweco Luxe Sport, which I would say inspired this kind of design, had a similar ring there. This ring makes the transition from the blind cap that you unscrew to reach the piston knob there. So there is this extra piece. This was also, some people say this could be the knob, the right away. For example, when you have I'll tell you why I have this here. If you have a Pelican M800, this is it. Sometimes you have the piston turning knob is right there, but this pen is not really meant to be posted. This pen is meant to be posted the way it posts. It gets on that. If you eventually twisted this part, you could have the ink going out of the pen because you were twisting the filling knob. This way you just unscrew the blind cap, and this may be even a nice way to fill the pen without losing this blind cap. You can put it aside, or you just can leave it here, post the cap, unscrew the cap, and the blind cap gets inside the cap, and so you won't lose it when you're filling the pen. So this is a way you can go. It is a nice instrument. It's in everything like the Piston Sport in aluminum. It also has a window, an ink window there, but because the pen is full of ink, let me bring the light a little closer. I think you can see the purple ink there inside the ink window. So this is the pen. It is a more inexpensive version, so you'll see the lines of the mold where this is made, but it is an interesting pen. So again, another thing, I have here a vintage Kaweco Sport. I don't know exactly the name of or the number of this model, but it doesn't matter. And this vintage Kaweco Sport, you also have the same kind of setup. You post the cap, and you can even use these and turn the blind cap, and then you have the knob. The only difference is that this vintage knob doesn't have this Kaweco logo there, but you can see it is the same thing. So the design is quite well made and goes back in time to this vintage Kaweco Sport. So this is an interesting pen. Again, the other things are very common to the other Kaweco Sport pens. They are light pens, small, they are pocket pens. Let me just make a size comparison. If you look at it compared with the Parker Centennial Blue Fold and with the Lamy Safari all black, you'll see that it is a short pen, but when you uncap a Lamy pen to write with it, and you write with it and post it, at least that's the way I do it. If you write with the Parker Centennial Blue Fold and post it, which is a very nice sized pen, the same size as the Pelican M800 that I have there, and if you post the Kaweco Sport, which is meant to be posted, you'll see they are all of the same similar size. The difference is that this is a spear-shaped nib, that one is kind of a number 6 nib, and this is a number 5 nib, but that's it. Okay, so after all, this is what I had to say about the pen in general, and the rest you all know. It's a comfortable pen to write with. It has this kind of hour-shaped section, comfortable to hold. The threads are not sharp, so this is the usual thing for Kaweco Sport, and you can find many more videos about Kaweco Sport on my channel. But I want to go through something else. When Kaweco released this pen and the Piston Sport in aluminum, and let me just put Piston Sport, the Luxe Sport, Classic Sport in black, Classic Sport with this Guilloche pattern, and the vintage one, which also has the Guilloche pattern, and it is a piston pen. So you have here a lot of different versions of these. The things that I want to mention: the Luxe, as you can see, it had a clip. The vintage had a clip. The other ones, the classic, regular classic, didn't have, and this regular classic doesn't have a clip also. But if you want, let me take this out of the way, we'll have only here the piston pens. You can put the optional Kaweco clips that are available for Kaweco Sport pens, and you will have it. They are available in several colors, but I would say that gold is the color that matches here. You have the kind of the regular modern clip, or you can go for the retro styled clip, which is the clip that is, you can see, more similar to this one. Actually, the clip is the same. It's not exactly the same because the sizes are different, but it is the same design, except this one goes for a very thin ring, which is held in place by the cap top. This is not held in place by anything else except for this ring that cannot be small. It has to be a wide ring and has also the facets that match the facets of the cap. Okay, so another thing, when they released this, they said this pen would have the same ink capacity as a cartridge. And so this was something that some people told it is not much and so on. This time I decided to take some measurements because I thought it would be interesting. And today at my work, this is a side part. I went with a colleague to the room we have. There is a lab there, and you have the scales or the balances. It depends how you say that. So I went to the analytical scale and I weighted the pen empty when I received it, empty and dry, and then I filled it with water and I weighted. I just cleaned the feed and I weighted again. So this gave me the ink. The difference between these two measurements gave me the ink capacity of the pen. And what I have to say is that a regular cartridge has the ink capacity of around 0.8 milliliters of ink. And I think that's what Kaweco was saying, that these pens would have this kind of a reservoir with 0.8 milliliters of ink. But we should not forget that if we have a cartridge, no, it's stupid to do this with the Parker. Let's go for the Kaweco Sport. If we have a cartridge pen, when you put the cartridge there, you just have the ink that is in here. When you fill a pen from the bottle, which is a piston filler, when it sucks the ink inside, it gets ink inside the barrel, but there is also ink inside the section all around the nib and feed. Then I wiped it, so I took out the excess ink, but there is more ink than just the reservoir. So actually a piston filler pen takes more ink than just the size of the reservoir of the ink. This is something that we need to be sure of that. So it's not fair to say that it takes this amount of ink, because it may take this amount like that, but also the amount of ink that gets inside and on the feed. And when I measured it, okay, now I mixed up the caps again. It's not the first time. When I did the unboxing, I did the same. So now I need to check which one is more, which one has more small scratches from time. I think it's this one. Sorry about that. Yes, this is the newer one. Sorry. So, as I was telling you, when I measured the ink capacity, the full ink capacity, as you fill the pen, not just the reservoir, I found out there is around 1.2 milliliters of ink. Actually, 1.16. So, we will round up these to 1.2 milliliters of ink in total, compared with 0.8. So this is good. This is a good thing, I would say, because we have more ink than we have in the cartridge. So there is actually an advantage, just besides the feel of filling piston pen. There is also the advantage of the ink capacity. Now, you may say that it's maybe little. Anyway, I cannot go in there very extensively. I don't know what is little or not. I'm not a big fan of piston pens, so that's not my thing. But I would say I brought here this pen because I think it's quite nice model of the and size of the Pelikan of the Pelikan range. This is Pelikan M800, which is quite well known by many people. And this pen, which has a fairly nice size, you can see it compared with the Sport and compared with a Parker Centennial do Fold or the Lamy, it is the same size. It's a comparable pen. This pen, I measured it also the same way, and this pen will take 1.5. So 1.2, 1.5 milliliters of ink. I would say for the, let me bring it again like this. If we compare the size and the diameter of each pen, I would say that the difference of just 0.3 milliliters of ink is not that bad for the Kaweco Sport. But this was something that I wanted to show. I never do this kind of measurements, but this time I thought it could be interesting. So again, this pen is available for purchase. You can find it. I'll leave links below. Remember, there is a big diversity of nibs that you can put inside. Just let me tell you that the nib unit for this Kaweco Piston Sport, both the plastic one and the piston, the aluminum ones, are the sections, the nib units are not the same. So they are not interchangeable with the other that were available. These ones are shorter than the regular ones, so you'll need to be careful. You can only fit these. By the way, the usual Kaweco Sport in plastic, it is not a screw-in unit. In this case, it is. The pistons are screw-in units. So, if you want, you need to buy this kind of nib unit to exchange nibs, or if you have just one and you have other nibs from the other regular sports, you know, this is gray and the other ones are black. So it's, let me try to take out the one on the Luxe Sport, if I can take it out. Okay, so I think you can see here the regular ones are black and are longer. If you have one nib that you want to exchange and you don't have any extra gray unit, you can just pull the nib out. You need to have the same feed and you put this nib on that. The nibs are interchangeable, but the feed and the color are not. So you just need to exchange nibs, and you can do this with other units that you have in your collection. You just can't directly exchange the nib unit. You need to take the nib out and use only the gray section, because they had to make some adjustments to be able to put the piston to go all the way to the section. The piston, I don't remember the name, the piston thing that goes all the way down to the section. If it had the regular nib unit, it wouldn't allow this to go that far, or the section would need to be bigger, and they wanted to keep all with the same kind of sizes. So this is all for this part. I will just show how it writes. It is the same thing as other Kaweco Sports, but let's do it anyway. So here we have the pen and the paper, and let's do this. So the pen is the Kaweco. My handwriting is getting worse with the age. Kaweco Sport, it's Kaweco Piston Sport, so this is exchanged in classic, and the color is black. I put here a double broad nib. it came with a medium nib, but I decided to go all the way. The ink is Kaweco Summer Purple, and the paper is Rhodia pad, which is a paper that I will stop using eventually because I can't buy it anywhere. I can't find it, so I think there will be no more. I'll have to find another paper to replace this. So the nib, this one is a very thick nib. You can even have some feathering here because it's lots of ink. And so the nib writes really well. No problems with baby bottom or anything like that. It writes really quickly. The feed keeps up with the ink flow. You can see the ink as a kind of a little, the nib has a kind of a little stubbiness to it. So you can see the downstrokes are thicker than the cross strokes. And this is how it writes. This is with some pressure. You can have a little variation, but not much. It's mostly a stiff nib. About the writing in reverse, it is scratchy, not good, but it is kind of a extra fine nib. But you can see the amount of ink it puts down on paper is quite big, and it is quite a wet nib. Of course, having a piston filler pen and have a wider how can I call it? The way that the piston goes into the section is wider than the mouth of a cartridge, so you'll have a bigger flow of ink. So let me just write a little bit, but you already know how this writes. So I will just put here a little bit of my favorite book. It's in Portuguese, so you may not understand, most of you. Okay, I think this is enough. You can see it writes well. It skipped a little bit there, but it was my fault that I tried to... Sometimes I rotate the nib and I tried not to make... I tried to have less contact with the paper because this is too wide for my regular handwriting. I like to write with a really fine line. This is too wide for me, but I wanted to show you how great it performs, this Piston Sport in this Kaweco Piston Sport pen in Classic, the black version. It writes really well and it's very nice. So now I'm just hoping that they will make some other colors to have some other options, maybe a version with the steel nib in regular steel color and with steel trim or chrome trim, and see what else they will have for us. So I think this is quite an interesting version. Usually I still prefer the cartridge pens, but this is a very nice one. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you are curious about this pen, and I hope you find the information about the size, the size of the ink capacity is interesting. The pen is not inexpensive. It costs 75 euros, around that, but we have to think that is a piston filling pen that had to be adapted. They had to create a specific piston mechanism for this size of pen, and you may see that some other pens with also steel nibs and piston filler, you may not even think about this one because the Pelikan M800 has gold nib, but if you go for the Pelikan M200 with a steel nib, it is much more expensive than this pen. So there are also less expensive versions, but I think it all depends if you are interested in these or if you are a Kaweco fan. I don't think it is too expensive in my opinion. So, and if you think it is, you always have the option to have just the regular plastic cartridge pen. You just miss this piston filling sensation. So this is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this very long video that I said it would be short. It wasn't. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to meet you soon here at the channel. Bye.